So welcome to the show, everyone. As you all know, I love to talk about everybody else on my show. We're live on Facebook. So hi to everybody out there. Like us and follow us. We're going to share the show later on. My first guest has never been with me before. I have with me Michelle Moses, and she's the owner of Me Financial. Welcome to the show. I want to get out some things that, you said you didn't know where it would fit, and I just decided in my own way to do it right now. So I first do want you to tell everybody a little bit about yourself, but what you told me was that you're an alternative asset advisor. I want to know what you mean by that. What first off?
What I mean by that is that I tend to specialize in them. So not only do I help people with, their normal stock market items, but I try to help people invest in alternative assets. And what that means is you're investing in apartment buildings, some different real estate things. But sometimes it's hotels, and there's different tax strategies, or there's oil and gas investments. So there's a lot of different things that you think would be private equity, but I have access to those so that regular people can get into them.
And I wanted to bring that up because people, maybe you have a financial advisor, but not one like this. Mm-hmm. And so I want to talk a little bit about that. You also have a podcast that's called Unconventional Investor. I want you to tell everybody a little bit about it.
Well, it's available anywhere you can hear your podcast, but essentially what I try to talk about, and I've always been a little bit different in that I talk a lot about feelings, and you'll see as we get going that I back up your investments with how you feel about them. And so some of the stuff that I talk about on the Unconventional Investor is things that I see other people doing, but I also talk about these alternative investments in real estate because I am also a realtor. So I'm a certified financial planner and a realtor, and so I try to help people with everything in their financial lives, not just because I feel like there's a lot of people that get frustrated and just getting advice on their 401k or what's in the stock market because they get confused. They want to hear about things that they really understand and see as they're driving by. So that's really what I talk about on the Unconventional Investor. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, I bet. Now, fee-based only advisor. Let's talk a little bit about what that means.
That means that I don't make any commissions. So insurance products, annuities, things like that, if I do some of those, they have a fee that you can actually see because a lot of times commissions are hidden in a product. And when you're fee only, you can charge by the hour, I can charge by the project, or if I manage an account, let's say in the stock market, you will actually see my fee coming out and you can actually see what you're being charged.
So you want to check her out on her website. It's mefinancial.net. We also want to call her. Her phone number is 480-442-5816. She works valley-wide. She is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, and you do complimentary 15-minute consultations. You have to do that.
Yeah, and you can book that through my website. It's very easy.
So you book them through the website?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's real easy. It's Me Financial, but remember, it's .net. So, okay, you're very unique in what you do. And I want to talk about, I know you mentioned a little bit about some of the things. Why? Why did you decide to go in that direction?
Well, I first started my own firm because I had moved to the Valley, which we were talking about before we started here, and I didn't have a warm, they want you to sell to your family and those sorts of things when you're getting interviewed, and I am very honest, and I don't really believe in that, and I never wanted to have quotas or anything like that, so I went out on my own, and people were really frustrated because a lot of times when you have different assets, when you are with I would say a traditional broker, they will not give you advice on things that they don't manage. And for me, I didn't think that was fair. If somebody was coming to me, I want them to be able to call and say, hey, should I give a loan to my brother? What do you think about leasing or buying a car? All those sorts of things. And I'm happy to give advice on all of those things as long as I know about it. Mm-hmm. So that's it comes more from listening to people and trying to just be honest, and it's just really who I am. I just want to help people.
I also think it's very important that you do the consultations, because the first thing you have to do is find out, are you a good fit?
Right. Yeah, and it really is a personality fit also. I mean, I call it like dating. So we need to date before we get married. It's you got to get to know me, and if we don't, because money is very, very personal, right? So there could be some bad things that happen in the market could go down. There could, you could lose money. And so we need to know that we can talk to each other through that, and that we're, you're not going to be yelling at me, and, that it's a good personality.
It's not nice
fit.
anyway.
Yeah, it's not, but it happens.
I do want to also sort of talk about things like this, because there's people that maybe they already have an advisor, but they're listening here and they're saying, wow, never thought about maybe putting some money into a hotel, right? Mm-hmm. Or a giant apartment building. Do you do second opinions with people?
I do sometimes, yes. It's hard because I don't always know the advisor, that they're with, and so I don't necessarily know why they're giving the advice that they are, but I could give what I would give, my own personal advice. Right. Yes.
Sometimes people don't talk about that because they just don't know it.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's something that's very important. You should maybe find out, because, to me, this is a very different avenue that you're going down. And now we have to ask you this question, because a lot of people think that you have to have a lot of money, to be, working with a financial advisor, especially if you're going to get into doing a hotel, buying something into that. Talk about that.
Yeah, I don't have any minimums. I think a lot of advisors have minimums. Just because I am fee only, that's why I can charge by the hour, I can charge, by the project, and then people can leave. I don't need to manage the money for a long period of time. And so that's kind of the way that you can get around that. And again, if I don't have minimums, if people want full-time advice, where they're talking to somebody every 6 months or a year, sometimes we can work on that too.
You also have down here that you have everything that's under one roof, that they can work with you with anything, because you're all encompassed, right?
Yeah, I basically say, if you have a question about money, then I will try my hardest to answer it, and if I don't know, I can refer to somebody.
Her phone number is 480-442-5816. She works valley-wide. She is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. She is what you call an alternative asset and advisor, that mainly in real estate, right?
Yeah, most alternative assets are in real estate,
Okay.
but there have been some fun ones lately.
She does these complimentary 15-minute consultations. You can also book those online at mefinancial.net. What is the favorite part about what you do when it comes to these alternative assets?
I find they're so interesting. The way that they're structured, a lot of times, sometimes they're in data centers, like you're kind of on the cusp of things, and that's what I find so interesting, is that you can invest in things like as they're starting up. You can even invest in different kinds of wine programs and high-end hotels. There's just like a lot out there that you can choose from, and it's just really fun. It
sounds it.
Yeah, and people understand it. I understand it a lot more too, because it's not a derivative. A stock is kind of a derivative of a company.
Well, let me ask you this: is it safer?
Some of them are safer, yes.
Because, the market is so wonky at all times. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk further. I think the main thing, what I love about this show the most, is the information that people get. And it's so important when maybe it's you or someone that you know. Check up on her website, which is mefinancial.net. Make sure you put the .net in there. Her phone number is 480-442-5816. She's A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. She does complimentary 15-minute consultations. She works valley-wide, fee-based advisor. Very important to know that too. An alternative asset advisor as well. Again, that number to call is 480-442-5816. It's mefinancial.net. Hang tight. We'll be back in just a minute.
Look at you timing that just right.
What's that?
You timed that just right. That's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
It's very impressive.
We're live. Are you okay the way I'm doing this?
Yeah.
Because I'm changing what you've done, but a little bit
I'm
different.
good.
Mount Medicare, sir.
Yeah, she can come in. Just make sure that she turns her phone on off silent, okay?
Yeah, no, you're great.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're hitting the high points.
Yeah, I want to make sure.
Yeah, you're good.
So I wanted to ask you what you mean when they have, well, it says here, what kinds of clients benefit most from having a financial advisor? What do you mean by
I
that?
think a lot of people, they don't know if they need one or not. Like, they don't know, and then if it's a bad relationship, why is it a bad relationship?
Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I find that people are very interested in that, is when do they actually need one, and what benefits can it have, and, and then they don't also know, like, if they're getting crappy service from the current one.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
I mean, my ex-mother-in-law had a, financial advisor for years, and she didn't even think she had to talk to him.
Mm.
And he didn't talk to her.
Mm.
When he didn't talk to her was the worst part.
Right.
Because that's when she lost the most money.
Yeah, and that's when she needs
Because she didn't understand that she really needed to keep in contact, or he should have been, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So, and that's what happened, and it was not a small amount. It was very large, and it was devastating, in its own way. And yet, who do you blame?
Yeah, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think people just get intimidated, and they don't know, I don't have enough money. Everybody feels that way. Unless they're like uber rich. I don't have enough money. Why would somebody talk to me? And so they don't know when they actually need an advisor or not.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
sometimes people think that they're getting, they just do it when they're going to invest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So a lot of times it's...
Okay. So the commercials that you hear are all the people that come on my show. That's kind of neat because it's all it's kind of different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a well-oiled machine here. I'm impressed.
Oh, thanks. Welcome back, everyone. We're talking with Michelle Moses. She's the owner of Me Financial. And I want you to tell everybody why you call it Me Financial, too.
That was my maiden name. I was Michelle Evard. So it was Michelle Evard Financial.
There's always a reason why to do things.
But now it's kind of like your finances are about me and you.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's what I thought you were going to say first. So,
Yeah.
okay. Now, we are talking about some of the different reasons that why people really need a financial advisor, but when as well. I love talking at the break because I get to know more a little bit about the clients that come in here. So I want you to talk about what are the benefits of having a financial advisor.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of confusion around this because a lot of people don't feel like they have enough assets. All the time, I don't have that much, but can you help me? And that's the thing about being fee-based is I can help anybody. It doesn't matter, and it's not like I'm going to charge you an arm and a leg to just look at your stuff. And I think people get really confused because there are so many exchange-traded funds and mutual funds and stocks and things, and then you're just inundated with marketing, right, of what to pick. And I really think that going to an advisor can help you pick the right asset allocation for your accounts. So that you're on the right track, and then you don't need to talk to them. I mean, if you're saving for retirement, you don't even need to look at your account once every 6 months. I mean, just save money and just keep saving money. But I think people get really confused on when they need an advisor and when they don't. And I just think that if you're just saving and you have a job and you have a 401k, maybe you just need an advisor to just make sure you're on the right track, right? And just check in, and then you go about your business, and then maybe you check in 2 years later. But as people get older and you start to make more money, and if you want to get into these alternative investments, then you would need to employ me full time.
Absolutely. I think that especially when you're going to start looking into buying a hotel.
Yeah. Yes. It's not something you would know about.
And I want them to understand that it's not just, maybe one person might want to buy a hotel, but usually when you're working with people, is it more than one person that's
you're pooling your money. So you're basically kind of like a mutual fund of buying a hotel or a a bunch of hotels. And then there's also a lot of tax advantages that go with some of these investments that you're not going to get from other places. So you can invest money and you can get depreciation just like you would buying, a house and renting it. Or you can invest in oil and gas and you get, write-offs on your taxes. So there's just a lot of different strategies that you can do with
Tell
taxes.
them why being a real estate agent as well is good for that.
Right. Yeah, that has
Compliments
really,
it.
and I know some people are like, oh, I'm really impressed with that, or, they question it, but I feel like it has really made my knowledge come full circle. I mean, to know what's happening in real estate and to know what all the closing fees are and, like what is a good real estate transaction and how should it go, it has helped with a lot of these alternative assets so that I know what the terminology is because, sometimes it's the loan terms that will blow up a deal, and different things like that. So you need to know what to look for. So being, a realtor really helps me in that regard. And then plus when people want to have like a, just a long-term rental or something like that, or an Airbnb, it helps in that regard too.
Let me tell you something. If you are getting into that kind of business, you really should have a financial advisor. Make sure first also, are you doing all of these things right? And how you can make even better money off of it, right?
Right, yeah.
Because there's reasons to do it, not just to, obviously have somebody it's rented out all the time. But then there's also tax reasons to do things, right? Right?
Yeah.
So you see, I tell you, I know so much about all sorts of little
Well, and
things.
it's not always, like I know, my career, I guess if you were to search everything, anybody could maybe do my job, right? You can do Google searches and all that, but maybe what I usually bring is just like another piece of advice or another suggestion that might bring it together that you're not necessarily going to get from, searching for hours and hours.
I want somebody who's an expert. I want somebody who, when I do, because a lot of people do go online, and there's so much information.
There's a lot of information.
So yes, you might be able to do that, but having somebody help you understand that and be able to say, yeah, well, maybe tweaking it too, just a little bit, so that it makes it better for you.
And having it fit with your life and what your lifestyle
Exactly.
is. And so I think, and I think that's where the tire really meets the road in your everyday life, and so how much time do you have for things, and can you sleep at night with certain investments, and are you worried? And that's a lot of times why I like the alternatives in the real estate, is because you're diversified and not all your eggs are in one basket.
I like that too. Now, what is the things that people most struggle with? Money?
They struggle with money, and I think I would say the number one is that no one feels like they have enough money, that they haven't done enough with their money. They should have saved more. Everybody feels that way. I shouldn't have spent so much. I should have saved more. And they struggle with knowing that they made a right decision. Because we're marketed all of these funds and all, gold is this and silver is this, or, this mutual fund is great. It's hard to go to sift through all of that. And, I've been doing this for 23 years now. And so I have really, I think, dialed it down to just simple. I want more simple. It's not worth it, like, to me, trading every single day. It's just a lot of stress, so how how can we just make it simple and run on its own so that you just have to check in on it?
Her phone number again, it's 480-442-5816. She's A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. She's been doing this for 23 years, valley-wide. She does complimentary 15-minute consultations. Again, write the number down. It's 480-442-5816. It's mefinancial.net. She is a fee-based advisor, and also she works with alternative assets, which is so cool. So when you help people, you have talked a little bit about how important honesty is. You talked a little bit about that in the beginning. Let's talk why you said that.
I'm almost honest to a fault, I feel like, and I'm really cheap. I don't like people to spend money.
Now you have to rephrase that.
Yeah, I should, but I think people understand that. I don't want to pay fees if you don't have to, so I really am not a fan of annuities. I'm not a fan of a whole lot of insurance. Certain amounts of insurance are good. But I just don't, I charge 1%. I see other advisors out there charging 2 and 3%, and I think it's completely egregious. So I think that you can pay a fair amount and get, some fair advice, and I'm almost honest to a fault because I want it to feel right. I want whatever I'm suggesting to feel right for your life and that it fits you.
Right here is what it says, that your goal is to help people live a stress-free, as a financial stress-free life as possible.
I feel like that's freedom. When you don't have to worry about, and you hear this a lot, have a low house payment and, buy cheap cars, then you're not worried about finances usually. Mm-hmm. And that is really my whole goal in my life, and it's my goal in my client's life, is that I want them to be able to sleep at night, not worry about things. They're not worried about the market going up and down, and that they're not going to be able to retire. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right? Yeah. And so that is my number one goal.
So, I think that's the biggest thing that I think I hear most people say is about the market. And even in the real estate mm-hmm. market, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
But even so, you're saying that if you get into buying some type of real estate, that it makes it not so wonky.
Yeah, well, and if you own it, and you need to own it for a long time, there's no get rich quick things here.
Kidding.
Yeah, all of that kind of stuff where people think I'm going to flip a house real quick and I'm going to do a lot. It's just, it doesn't happen. Or it's not sustainable. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's where I come in. Is I'm really a counselor is what I am, and helping people talk through things, I guess.
So if someone feels like they're overwhelmed or unsure, who do they trust? Who do they go to? What would you suggest?
I would suggest an advisor, but sometimes it's their parents. Sometimes people really trust someone in their family. And I just think you should go to someone that is always paying attention to the market and what's out there.
I also think what's lovely about this show is that you have a voice, right? And they can hear. And what I've heard from you over and over and over again is about how you're trying to help that client, first of all, just be stress-free, right? But understand what you're doing. I think that's another part of it. And maybe doing something a little bit different outside of the box that can make you feel that way. Because, if the others are not working, why do they continue to do it? Maybe look into something like this.
Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times people will be in things that stress them out because they're talked into it. Like, you're going to make the most money by you doing this. But then they don't understand it and it stresses them out. So then what's the point? Because it's your money, and the money is tied to you and what you are doing in your life.
Something different, something to think about. Maybe you have a consultation with her and see exactly how it would make you stress-free. I think that's the most important thing, and everybody wants to be, especially right now. A lot of people are very, very worried about the market, and maybe you don't have to be. So again, she's A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. She's been doing this for 23 years. She works valley-wide. She is a fee-based advisor. Her podcast is called Unconventional Investor. Check her out on her website. You can also make an appointment to talk to her there. It is me, financial.net. Again, 480-442-5816.